Today we're 100% speedrunning Choo Choo Charles. We'll start our speedrun as soon as we make it through the first cutscene. We get to see our boy Eugene looking perfect as always. And while we're going through the intro scenes, I'll explain what this speedrun is. To get 100%, we need to get all train upgrades, all paint buckets, all weapons, and all missions completed. And you're gonna be surprised on how fast we can do this. But anyways, we'll talk to Eugene, see his eyeballs just like usual. They're looking awesome. And then we're gonna speed ahead of him because he's kind of slow. There's not too much you can do to speed up this intro sequence, so we just gotta head over to the shed and grab the key from it before heading back to our boy Eugene. Then we can go into this building and see our train, which we're gonna enter, go directly to the gun, exit out of there, talk to Eugene, and start up the train. And with that, that's going to be the intro sequence done. All that's left is to watch Eugene die. Because of course, we're gonna see Charles for the first time, and Eugene really wants us to shoot him, but we're not gonna do that. Instead, we're kind of just gonna let Eugene die. And yeah, hope you enjoy hanging out with Charles. Love you guys. I'm sure they're having a great time together. But yeah, it's just not my concern because right now we have to focus on these 6 missions, which are going to be the first part of the run. We're going to get all 6 of them one after the other before getting our first egg. But before all that, we just kind of got to ride the train for a bit. Then once we make it to our first railroad switch, we're going to take the left path and we'll actually get off our train as soon as we see our first NPC, who's going to be Tony Tittle. Now, Tony's mission is actually really easy and helpful for us because he doesn't actually have a mission. Instead, he just wants us to go collect 9 scrap from his barn. So we can head right in here and yeah, just go one by one picking them up, which is really nice because to get all upgrades, we need to get a ton of scrap and you're going to see me focusing on collecting it a lot throughout this run. Other than that though, we can head over to the waypoint that we said earlier because a lot of the movement we're going to be doing is going to be on foot just because we can take the more direct paths. Now, once we make it over here, we'll see Candace and she pretty much has the exact same mission, which is going to be to go in her house and pick up her scrap. But once we make it in here, it's kind of a mess. Honestly, she needs to clean her room a little bit more, but hey, that's still 9 scrap and we can head on our way to go over to the swamp and see the witch, which is going to conveniently be down this hill where we'll see the witch, but we don't actually have to talk to her. Unless an NPC needs to give you something like a key to open their house, you do not have to talk to them to start their mission. We're instead going to jump right inside this swamp and try to make it to the center island. Now, the annoying thing about this level is that there's a swamp monster after us. We have to be careful to not be moving while it touches us, otherwise it's going to automatically kill us. So yeah, this part of the run is pretty scary because I do not want to die here, but we can make it to the center island where it's going to be the ingredient we have to pick up for the witch, along with some scrap that we'll take as well. And then finally, it's time to make it back to shore, so we're going to jump on in and do pretty much the same thing as last time. I'll tell you when it's done. All right, there we go. We're finally out and got one of the more stressful parts of the run done. I kind of drifted to the right a bit farther than I would have wanted to, but that's fine. We can just make our way over to the witch, take her scrap as well, and head off into this direction because over here is going to be another house with another mission. And this mission is nice because it's going to teach us how to lockpick, since we see our boy Daryl and he's basically like, hey, I can't lockpick and there's a chest I need to get into. So he tells us to do it for him, which the lockpicking minigame is pretty easy. The first time I played this, I had a lot of troubles with it, but then you learn all you have to do is press the button a little bit later than you think you need to, and it's pretty easy. We can get another critical item and pick up some scrap while we're over here. Finally, we'll talk to Daryl. He'll give us some more scrap and we can be on our way to this next house, which is directly over to the right. Here's where we're going to talk to Helen, who gives us our main objective on how to fight Charles. In order to damage him, we need to collect his 3 eggs, and she gives us the key to a cave that will let us get the first one. But before we make our way over to that cave, it's also time to get a flamethrower. You can see that there's this guy who just has his entire building on fire and he's kind of not doing anything about it, which is really dumb because there's a very simple way to fix that, as we just did. But he's going to congratulate us and we can go inside the still burning building to grab some paint along with some more scraps. And yep, thank you, Sergeant Flint. I will take the flamethrower. So that's going to be our first additional weapon. And now we can make our way to our first egg, which is going to be straight over into this direction. There's a very convenient path right up here. And after walking it for a bit, we can drop down and see some rails that are leading to a locked cave. So we can use the key we got from Helen, make our way in here, and now it's time to get the egg. But before we do that, there is one chest that we have to open, and we can use the lockpicking skills that we got earlier to do this. This chest is going to give us our second can of paint, and it's the green paint, which honestly, I really like. After that, it's just some pretty normal cave movement. This is by far the easiest cave in the game because it is the first one. It tries to teach you how to be stealthy, but that also takes way too much time. So instead, I'm just gonna run straight through here, not really caring if they shoot me. Because for some reason, our character is literally Superman. They can shoot you right in the brain and you're barely gonna take any damage. Now, after we grab the egg and get some more scrap, we're gonna wanna make sure that this guy keeps following us. And that's because once we make it out of the cave, we want him to kill us. We have to make it out so the game saves we got the egg. And then if we die, we'll get spawned back at the train, which is gonna be pretty nice. So there we go, we can make it out. Our game saves our objective. And now we can say hi to our dude again, who's gonna shoot us a couple more times. Also, he has a really nice jacket. I've never noticed that before. Anyways, once we make it back to the train, we can start it up and increase our speed all the way to level 9. All that scrap is very useful because now we're gonna be able to do the rest of the missions a lot faster. After this, I do want to mark our next place we need to go to, which is going to be getting some pickles for the pickle lady. So I want to ride my train until it's about at this area right by the pickle lady's house, and then we can jump our way over to her pickle jar. Once we make it over to our waypoint, there's going to be a lot of scrap we can take, so might as well get that, along with another paint can, which is going to be our purple paint, and a chest, which is going to house the pickles. Not sure why these need a lockpick, to be honest. Who's trying to keep these pickles so safe? Well, maybe the pickle lady. Anyways, we're going to open that up and then take her pickles and be on our way back to her, which is a pretty easy time. We kind of just take a pretty straightforward path and we'll see her in no time. But actually, this might be bad because I think Choo Choo Charles is right by us and yeah, he's gonna murder us. But honestly, this might be okay. So I'm gonna want him to murder me right here because we're right by the pickle lady anyways. Once we respawn at the train, you'll see that her house is right there. And yeah, we barely lost any time. For these 100% speedruns, it's really unlikely that you won't see Charles at least once. So all in all, that was a pretty good death and we can complete the pickle lady's mission, which means that now it's time to go off to Slenderman. So we'll go on our train, increase our speed one more time, and I'm gonna mark right in this forest, or I don't know if that's a forest, whatever that's called, because that's going to be where our Slenderman mission is. And yes, you did not hear that wrong. There is actually a Slenderman mission in this game, but we do want to set up for later, so I will switch the rails over to the right and we'll ride our train until we make it to that next building before jumping off it and getting ready to have another spooky time. You'll see that once we make it far enough into this area of the forest, in the top right of the screen, now we have 0 out of 8 pages found. The in-game lore for this is an NPC gives us the mission to help her with a ghost problem, and we need to burn all 8 of these pages so the ghost will stop being a jerk. And yeah, it's honestly not too bad. We can grab our second page right there because surprisingly, you're not able to die in this section. The only thing that will happen if the ghost catches you is it takes you out of the forest. So we can grab our 4th page right there, and there we go. It does its thing, which is a little bit annoying because I'm not exactly sure where we are now, but yeah, it's better than dying, and we can keep going. That's going to be page number 5. I'm pretty sure I have a fairly good idea of where we are. That's going to be number 6. We only need 2 more, and now I think we go over to this right direction. I really hope I'm doing this right, and that's going to be number 7. Okay, that's really good, and the ghost is going to take me one more time. Dude, you are really annoying. Okay, I'm not exactly sure where my last page is right now, but I'm sure we'll find it. Let's try this direction where, oh, of course, the ghost is gonna come right by. And actually, this might be a good thing. So we're now at the house where the NPC who gave us the mission is. And luckily, because of that, there's going to be the one last page right at the entrance. So that's gonna be 8 out of 8. But before we go report to her, I do wanna mark this spot on my map, and we're gonna head over to that waypoint. Also, a nice thing is once you get all 8 pages, the ghost isn't gonna come after you again. So we can kind of just walk through. Eventually, we'll make it over to this wooden structure and we'll start climbing our way up it. Because at the top of this structure, there's going to be another lockpicking box and we can get another paint can. So yeah, pretty normal lockpicking. That's going to be the pink paint can. We can grab some scraps and then we're going to jump down because we have more than enough health. We're not going to die. And the one thing I do want to make sure I do is now mark our next spot on the map, which is going to be over here. Because in that building, there's going to be a journal that we have to pick up for a different NPC. And I forgot to do it before. So yeah, that's not going to happen this run. Anyways, we'll head inside this building. They have some weirdly red furniture. I don't know, they just look so weird in this game. But we're gonna take that journal, get some scrap, and make our way to this NPC, which is gonna be our next waypoint. We won't actually return this journal for a little bit, but it'll come up eventually. For now, we want to go to the NPC that we did the ghost mission for. So we can talk to Sasha right here. She's gonna give us some scraps, and we can be back on our way. I'm gonna use my map to mark right over here where our rocket launcher is gonna be. And yeah, it's now just another running section. Oh yeah, check out over there, those like hanging dolls. I'm not exactly sure what that is because we're not required to go in there and it's a little too creepy for me, but someone tell me in the comments. Anyways, it's time to collect our next weapon. We have to grab this dynamite along with this scrap and make our way over to this door so we can set off the dynamite. While we're also waiting for it, I might as well grab that scrap before heading out, trying not to die to it, and that's going to open up the door. Then we can come down here, remove a rock so that dynamite can start moving. That's going to cause another explosion, and once we make our way down here, we'll get our rockets. Also, don't worry about this red stuff. Like I said in my any percent run, it's just paint. Don't demonetize me, YouTube. Anyways, we're going to be heading off to this right direction so we can finish off the rocket launcher mission, and just like normal, picking up scraps along the way. Eventually, we make it over to this building where we'll see our boy John Smith. He gives us the boomer, and now right by there, we can go up this structure where we're going to see Greg, and he's going to give us our next key. After that, all we have to do is make our way over to this lighthouse, which is at the end of the island. So yeah, just picking up scrap along the way, just like usual. Now for this part, what we need to do is turn on the lighthouse's lights, and to do that, we have to go over to this shed and pick up all of these switches. I'm not sure why they're not just on the lighthouse already, but it doesn't matter. We can grab those, go straight over here, place all of the switches on the lighthouse, and do them in the order of 4, 2, 3, 1. Finally, we can talk to Claire, get our scraps, and die by jumping off this cliff a few times. So that's going to be number 1, and we can jump one more time over here, and that's going to be another derailed. Now, as soon as we spawn, we're not going to start our train right away because instead, it's time to go return the journal that we got earlier. We will pick up some scraps on the way just like usual, but we have to go over to the docks, and yeah, it's just a pretty easy run. Finally, once we make it over here, we can see our boy Santiago. He's going to give us some more scraps, and that's going to be another mission done. Then after this, all we have to do is run back up to our train, but we're also going to pick up another paint can, which is going to be the gray paint, and just take our long windy path back up. I will make sure I loot the rest of this building though, just going to make sure I have the scraps, and we can be on our way with the train. And now it's time for a pretty long train ride. So we're going to set our waypoint all the way over here at this dock, and there's a reason for that later. I'll explain it when we get there, but we can also upgrade our train damage and our armor to level 8. And after this, it's time to ride for a while. And surprisingly, we're already more than halfway done with the speed run. We've been making really good time. I do have to make sure that I do switch these rails though, so I will make this one go over to the right, and yeah, back on the train. I might as well also switch up our color, which, you know, for this one, let's go with a purple. I've barely ever used this color, and I really like purple. I will switch up the train color some more though, so if you're a fan of the colors, let me know which one's your favorite one, I guess. Oh, and on our way, I actually saw another box. I will take this just in case. We should be fine on scrap, but you never know what's gonna happen. And boxes are always a nice thing to get because they can give you anywhere from 1 to 9 scrap. But as you can see, we're now crossing the bridge where we will eventually kill Charles, but we still have some more train riding to do before we complete some more missions. All right, finally, we make it over to this house, which is where we're gonna get our next key. And this is going to be the 3rd key that we have, so we can finish out the last 2 egg missions really quickly. Then we wanna come over to this church building. At least I think this is a church. And within this building, there's going to be our next paint can. I will also grab that scrap, but that's going to be the black paint. And then we can head over to this next building where we're going to get our last weapon. This lady explains that her husband died, but we can have the weapon that he made. She just wants us to name it after her husband, Bob. And finally, we can now head over to this building where there's going to be our last story NPC. This building is also really laggy a lot of the times, but we can grab some of this scrap. And once we see Paul, he's going to tell us his plan for taking out Charles. And to do that, we're going to set off a bunch of explosives on this bridge over here. So yeah, this is a pretty simple part of the game. We kind of just run forward and place 8 explosives at different parts of this bridge. That's going to be 4. Then we can jump over to the other side, also get this scrap, and then place 4 more. There we go. Gonna get that scrap as well. And that's going to be that mission done. Now we can go to Paul, finish talking up everything, and make our way to our next egg, which is going to be straight over in this direction. I usually use these trees to figure out where I'm going. And once we make it over here, there's going to be another one of these caves, which of course is going to have a lock, but we're not too worried about it because we already got the key and we can jump right in. Now this cave is probably the most stressful cave in the game because we really don't want anyone to notice us. Otherwise, we're probably going to die. So hopefully there's just nobody around here, and it seems we've gotten pretty lucky. Now we can come straight over to this chest where there's going to be another paint can, just doing some good old lock picking like usual, and that's going to be the color blue. And then we want to head over to the left, take a right here, and we have to open up this drawbridge, or wait, that's not a drawbridge, whatever this is called. We have to open it up, and there's going to be our second egg. Now at this point, all we have to do is make it out of the cave. So yeah, pretty easy stuff. We can take this right path. There's going to be a very convenient bridge right here, which is that a drawbridge? I don't really know. I'm probably sounding like a fool. Anyways, we can just run our way out of here. Oh, there is going to be one guy that's right at the entrance. That's kind of awkward. Anyways, see you later, dude. We're making our way over to the waypoint that we set up earlier. earlier. Now you're finally seeing why we set up this waypoint, so we know exactly where to go. And yeah, it's just another long run, but we have to come all the way over here just for a paint bucket. But I do think that one person might still be following me. I guess we'll see in a second. I'm gonna come over here and grab the teal paint bucket, and yeah, the dude is literally following me, which is actually perfect because we want this guy to kill us. Usually we would have to go over to another guy and spend like an extra 30 seconds, so that was a huge time save. Sometimes the cultists are really aggressive for no reason at all, but I'll take it. And now this is gonna open up a couple more missions, and we want to set a waypoint over at this blue one. Then we can just ride the train for a while. There's gonna be another rail switching section where we want to put this one over to the left. And yeah, I cannot believe how good this run is going right now, but we still have some very hard parts left, so we'll just hope it doesn't go wrong. Now there's going to be another railroad switching section right here. I didn't get the best momentum there, but we're now at a cultist base, and here we have to get our last weapon. We got the setup earlier, and now we just have to collect a key and then go assemble the weapon. So we can head into this building, hope that no cultists see us, grab that key, and excuse me dude, you're being really annoying, and okay, kind of unlucky, but that's actually barely gonna lose any time because we do spawn right by the building we need to get to. So yeah, we can now just make our way over here, grab some scraps, and we have to assemble the weapon right there. We don't even have to stay by it while it's assembling, but eventually it's gonna tell us that we got Bob, and yeah, that's all weapons done, which means now we can head over to our next waypoint, which is going to be the location of the third egg. Now this one is also kind of a stressful section. I've never lost my life here, but I've gotten very close before. So yeah, it's a pretty cool section. We just get to walk down this huge stairwell, then jump our way through here. There's going to be a lot of cultists just guarding the entire area, and we don't really want to get shot by them. Again though, we kind of are Superman, so even if we do get shot, it doesn't do too much damage. We just kind of tank it. Now we can head over in this direction. I will grab that scrap and head down this elevator before the guy can catch up. Finally, now we have one last section to do in this cave. It looks like no one is over here, which means we got lucky RNG, so we can run straight through and get our third egg. This one I'm going to want to grab while I'm still running, and then we can take this left path. And finally, before we exit this cave, we want to come over to this chest, and we're going to do some more lock picking because of course this is going to give us the red paint, and we can head up this convenient elevator. While we're waiting for it, we also want to set our next waypoint, which is going to be at another NPC. Now as soon as we get up here, there's going to be a bunch of guys trying to shoot us, and they got kind of close to killing me. I'm pretty happy they didn't, but yeah, we're just going to run away from them and hope they don't. Now we're going to be making our way over to the huge wooden building, and this part is going to be the parkour section. So in this building, there's a lot of these doors that are going to be locked, and in order to get to the top and get some files that an NPC needs, we have to do parkour, like jumping across this place, nice and easy. We can also come down here where there's going to be our next bucket, which is going to be the lime paint can. Then we can head over to these boxes and do a bit of faster platforming by coming on top of those like that, just going straight through, heading up a bit more, grabbing some scrap right there, and it's time for another big jump. I do not know how my dude is so good at jumping. Literally, he should be in the Olympics because my dude is insane. But we're finally almost to the top. All I have to do is make that jump, and now we just have to climb up some stairs. And then finally, we'll make it to the top door where we can get this file cabinet and get the files that the NPC needs. So at this point, we just have to make it back down. We can drop down right here, hopefully not die, and there's going to be our boy Ronnie, who's going to give us some scraps. So yeah, that was pretty good time, and it's time to die again. We're gonna hope that one of the cultists followed us, and it looks like one did. Okay, thank you very much, dude. I really appreciate that. We're just gonna let you kill us right there. Unfortunately, lose 3 scraps, but that should be fine because we should still have enough to finish out. We do have level 10 damage now, and there's still one more mission to do to get the rest of our armor. So I'm gonna set my waypoint right there, and yeah, we're almost at the end of the speed run. I will have to come right here and actually switch these really quick, which I think I got off the train a little bit too late. Maybe not, but I'm not gonna take chances. We're just gonna go backwards for a second, then go forwards, nice and easy. And you can see that our last NPC is gonna be the yellow guy, and from there we can go straight to the end of the game. Oh, but there's Charles. Okay, so I'm not gonna try to fight off Charles because it'll just be a waste of time. Instead, I'm just gonna let him kill us. Kind of unlucky because we're almost done with the speed run, but it's okay, especially because we spawned right back where we were, and now all we have to do is make our way over to the waypoint. So yeah, another long running section. And once we make it over here, I will grab this scrap, but there is going to be one cultist that is following us. All we have to do though is pick up that critical item and follow this path out. This cultist is really annoying though, because sometimes he will follow you to the ends of the earth. So we're gonna kind of hope that doesn't happen, but all right, dude, you're being really annoying. It won't matter too much because we can just juke him, but I don't know why he's being like this. Anyways, before we actually go return that item, I will take this scrap over here, and then we're gonna head up these stairs, open this door, get that scrap as well, well, and talk to our last NPC, so that's all the missions done. From here, we can also get the white paint can, and that's also going to be all of the paint cans done. So to complete 100%, all that's left is to finish off our train upgrades, which luckily we can do during the boss fight, so we're just going to run straight over there. And it's pretty obvious where this boss fight is. It's just the big building in the distance. But this is going to be a fun time because you can see just how overpowered we are. So like usual, we'll head through the big door, and then we're going to place all of our eggs, and that's going to start the final boss fight. Then we can upgrade our armor. That's going to be all of the upgrades done, and all we have to do to finish off our 100% speedrun is kill Charles. And you can see that we are doing a ton of damage to him, especially the flamethrower. It does so much damage, and yeah, this guy's going to be really easy. If you haven't seen it before, I would definitely recommend checking out my any percent speedrun because it is much harder to kill Charles in that than it is here. But yeah, we just obliterate him at this moment. He can't really do anything. We just kind of go back and forth, switching between the flamethrower and using the rocket launcher. And another thing you might notice is I'm barely having to repair my train, and that's because our speed is so fast, so Charles has a very hard time catching up to us. But okay, that should be his second phase. Now he's gonna get into his third. We're making pretty good time, and this has actually been an amazing run. I'm really proud of this one, but I also don't want to lose it. If I get too cocky, we could lose the rest of our health, and I don't really want that to happen, so I will upgrade my train health right there. And that is also going to be the last of our scraps, so yeah, I just need to make no mistakes, but we should be fine. We have so much damage. To be honest, Charles probably doesn't have a chance. And finally, with just a little bit more of the flamethrower, I think that should finish him off, and that's time 42:38. So yeah, that was actually an amazing run. I'm really proud of it. And this run's also going to put us at third place on speedrun.com. All right, subscribe if you enjoyed. Bye.